Nick Freeman is a lawyer known, of course, to the media as Mr. Loophole. Good morning to you, Nick.
Morning, Tim.
I guess, legally speaking, the big issue we have in this country is that we are all, as individual drinkers, monitoring ourselves and making decisions about whether we're safe or not.
So that's right. So that I think that applies literally everywhere, because you can consume 2 pints on one day and be under the limit, and you can consume 2 pints later on that same day and you can be over the limit. And it affects you. It's a very subjective thing, and it's impossible to gauge. And so the sensible advice is limit yourself to one drink, and that's if you have a reasonable constitution. And I have to say that even though we're talking about legal limits, and we have the highest legal limit of any EU country, and at that level you're 4 times more likely to have an accident. But what I was going to say was, even if you're under the limit, you can still be prosecuted for driving whilst unfit. So somebody who doesn't have someone who has a weak constitution can consume a glass of wine, they can be under the limit, but it can impair their ability to drive. And if they're involved in an accident and there's serious injury or fatality, even if they're under the limit but they're affected by that alcohol, it's life-changing, not only for the person who they've hit, but for them, because they're then looking at potentially a 14-year custodial sentence. And that the number of people that I sadly get coming across my door who are respectable, reasonable people who have just made that error in judgment, and it wasn't a particularly high reading, and it might be that somebody's walked out and suddenly between 2 cars and they didn't see, you will be prosecuted for causing death by dangerous driving. That's what will happen. And as I said, it's life-changing, obviously, for the people who have lost their lives, but also for the families who are involved with the driver, who just made a terrible error in judgment.
I just wonder, Nick, reflecting on this and thinking about what you said, I mean, the fact that the moment you take any alcohol, of course, it's going to varying degrees, impair your ability to drive safely. Would it be better in this country if we simply had a zero tolerance that one does not drink before getting behind the wheel? Do you think that would be an effective policy? Do you think that would save these deaths?
I would argue very strongly against that. But I would say it would be an effective policy for people to take upon themselves to say, if I'm driving, I'm not going to drink. The reason I say you don't want a zero limit is, for example, somebody may go to a party the night before. At what stage does that alcohol totally dissipate? If somebody has some fruitcake or somebody has some mouthwash that has alcohol in it, there are all sorts of different things. People produce their own ethanol, their own their own alcohol. So that, in my view, is unnecessary. It would have a serious adverse effect upon the economy, and we don't need to do that. But what we need is for citizens just to assume a level of responsibility and say, look, I'm the one driving tonight. I'm not even going to have one drink. I'm going to have no drinks. And then you don't have a problem. It's astonishing, in my view, for people, 8 million people who are living in this country, to say, I'm prepared to take a chance. What they're really saying is, well, I know that I'm at least 4 times more likely to have an accident, and I'm aware of all the consequences that flow from that, but I'm nevertheless going to take that risk. It's an astonishing risk to take.
It absolutely is. Nick, thank you so much for being with us, Nick Freeman, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you very much, Tim, and to you and your listeners.
Thank you so much, Nick Freeman, lawyer known as Mr. Loophole.